Price is interacting with session memory. The February 11th New York session anchor continues to define the dominant hourly boundary. Since that formation, both New York and Asia sessions have remained structurally contained inside that box. No sustained relocation has occurred beyond it. Containment persists. The hourly structure remains dependent on that reference. Every recent expansion attempt has resolved back into its range. The boundary has not shifted. It has absorbed activity instead. On February 17th, the New York session anchor formed between the lower boundary of the February 16th session box and the lower boundary of the February 11th session box. This placement matters. It sits inside prior memory rather than extending it. During that formation, price moved outside the 20 Bollinger Band. The white band briefly widened. The red 4 Bollinger Band accelerated downward. Volatility expanded. That expansion did not persist. Price touched the lower 4 Bollinger Band and then rotated back inside the 20 Bollinger envelope. Distance from the band compressed quickly. Expansion transitioned into contraction. After re-entering the 20 Bollinger structure, price traveled upward toward the green 20 moving average. The movement slowed near the orange 120 moving average. Distance narrowed again. Slope flattened. The 20MA and 120MA are now positioned close together. The separation that previously defined directional weight has reduced. Structural slope is less decisive. Compression dominates. The 4 Bollinger Band widened slightly during the earlier expansion. It is now narrowing. The 20 Bollinger Band expanded briefly. It too is tightening. Volatility is not extending. It is redistributing inside boundary memory. Range persistence continues. RSI on the hourly chart fluctuates around the 50 region. It moves slightly below it. Momentum is neither accelerating nor collapsing. It oscillates within a middle regime. Higher lows are visible in the oscillator. The slope is gradual. Acceleration is absent. Pressure builds slowly. The February 17th Asia session anchor formed with significantly reduced volatility. Its body remained narrow. Its range compressed. It positioned itself near the midpoint of the February 17th New York anchor. It formed below the 120 moving average. Structural weight remained above it at the time. The environment was flat. Duration extended without expansion. Flat states require time. Compression requires repetition. Persistence defines weight. After forming, price briefly moved below the Asia anchor boundary. It interacted with the 20 Bollinger Band again. It then rotated upward. The Asia anchor was reclaimed. Reclaiming the Asia anchor did not immediately expand range. Instead, price continued to negotiate near the 20MA. Distance between 20MA and 120MA reduced further. Overlap began to appear. The green 20MA and orange 120MA are now nearly aligned. Structural slope on both has flattened. Bandwidth is decreasing. Volatility is compressing again. Containment remains intact. Session memory continues to define space. Expansion has not yet converted into relocation. Volatility is shifting inside a prior hourly range. The February 11th New York boundary continues to exert structural weight. Despite multiple session rotations, the range remains dominant. No hourly close has persistently accepted beyond its upper boundary. The lower boundary has also held. This produces duration. Duration reinforces structural memory. Memory increases friction. Friction slows relocation. The February 17th New York anchor formed near overlapping lower boundaries. Its position reflects negotiation rather than initiative. The initial downward expansion below the 20 Bollinger Band created temporary displacement. It did not sustain continuation. Distance from the 20MA widened briefly. The 4 Bollinger Band expanded sharply. Candle bodies increased in size. Range widened for several bars. Then contraction resumed. Candle bodies reduced. Wicks lengthened relative to bodies. Bandwidth narrowed. Compression returned. Compression persisted. Compression dominated. Time extended inside narrowing volatility. The 120 moving average, which previously defined clear structural slope, is now flattening. Its angle has reduced significantly. Distance from price is minimal. Weight is diffused rather than directional. The 20MA reflects this shift. It overlaps the 120MA. Separation disappears. Slope becomes nearly horizontal. When moving averages overlap, structural clarity declines. Directional persistence requires slope separation. Without distance, volatility cycles compress. Duration increases. The Bollinger Band now fluctuates tightly around price. It expands slightly during minor impulses. It contracts quickly afterward. No sustained band walk is visible. The 20 Bollinger Band shows mild widening earlier in the session. That widening faded. The envelope narrows again. Volatility compresses inside the hourly boundary. RSI remains near the midline. It slightly underperforms the 50 threshold. Higher lows are visible. Momentum is building slowly without acceleration. Flat oscillator behavior mirrors flat structural slope. Neither indicates initiative. Both reflect negotiation. Time is being processed. The Asia session reclaim above its anchor introduced micro-upward pressure. However, this move occurred inside the February 11th containment zone. It did not alter the higher structural boundary. It remains behavior inside structure. Duration matters more than impulse. Persistence defines acceptance. So far, persistence has not formed beyond containment. Interaction continues inside it. Compression states must dominate when slope is flat. Flat bands require repetition. Repetition increases structural tension. Tension builds without release. The hourly range remains intact. Moving averages remain overlapped. Bandwidth continues to narrow. Volatility remains in redistribution. Structure has not relocated. It is being tested. On the 15-minute layer, movement fluctuates inside the hourly containment defined by the February 11th anchor. Each impulse references that memory. No sustained extension has redefined the boundary. Lower timeframe behavior negotiates within it. After the Asia anchor was reclaimed, the 15-minute chart showed gradual upward drift. Candle bodies were modest. Wicks extended on both sides. Bandwidth remained moderate. The 20MA on the 15-minute time frame slopes gently upward. Its angle is shallow. Acceleration is limited. Persistence remains short in duration. The 120MA on the 15-minute chart aligns closely with the 20MA. Overlap persists. Distance is minimal. Structural weight remains balanced. The Bollinger Band expanded briefly during minor upward impulses. It contracted quickly afterward. Each expansion was followed by flattening. Volatility cycles remain short. The 20 Bollinger Band shows limited widening. It does not sustain envelope expansion. Price rotates from upper to midline frequently. Acceptance at extremes is absent. Flatness dominates multiple consecutive candles. Range narrows. Impulse shortens. Continuation fails. The 15-minute structure mirrors the hourly compression. It does not contradict it. It reflects behavior inside higher weight memory. Hierarchy remains intact. RSI on the 15-minute chart trends slightly upward. It oscillates around mid-range. Momentum is incremental. Acceleration remains limited. Higher lows are forming gradually. However, duration above the midline is short. Persistence weakens quickly. Relocation does not follow. Overlap between 20MA and 120MA persists across several bars. Slope flattens repeatedly. Distance collapses again. Volatility compresses further. The February 11th New York anchor continues to define structural containment. The February 17th anchor remains inside it. Asia session interaction adds micro-fluctuation. None of it alters the dominant boundary. Expansion appears in short bursts. Compression absorbs it. Time extends. Structure continues processing inside prior session memory.